Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the +1 seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which whenever someone plays a unit, they will also spawn a 1-power copy of that unit in the same row, which means we can get an extra copy of any big engines, opening up some interesting possibilities. Today's deck I can only describe in one word: weird. But it's gonna be a lot of fun, so let's give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Nilfgaard Imposter deck that focuses on playing soldiers that deal a bunch of damage and uses several of the new mages to manipulate our opponent's deck and give us more soldiers that deal damage. So the key cards are going to be the Aard, Ffion, Crossbowmen, which when we play it will deal 2 damage, but more importantly, as long as it has armor, whenever we play a soldier, it will deal 1 damage to a random enemy unit. And because in +1 we're spawning an additional copy of this whenever we play one, that means we can load up on a bunch of damage very quickly. Combine that with the Alba Pikeman, which is a soldier, so it will trigger the damage from the Crossbowmen, and also gives us 1 damage at the end of our turn, and we have tons of damage potential. But before we play those cards, we'll play cards like the Operator to spawn additional copies of those cards on the playing field, both on our side and our opponent's side, then use the Duchess Informant to create more of them on our side, or steal them with the Master of Puppets. Then once we destroy our opponent's copies of those cards, we can use Imperial Practitioner to put those cards back at the top of our deck, use Vilgefortz Renegade to swap one of those cards from their graveyard with a card in our hand, or play those bronze soldiers from their graveyard directly using Experimental Remedy. Combine that with Damien to replay our leader ability, and Cahir to benefit from any boosting that our opponent might do, and we have a lot of ways to deal damage and protect ourselves from some of our opponent's best units. So those are all the big combos, but now I'll flip through the deck to show you what else we have. And Vilgefortz is another way to put a card in our opponent's graveyard to set up some of our graveyard manipulation. Then Ffion we will likely use in our melee row to protect either Cahir and or Damien. Then Vrygheff we can play in between our Crossbowmen for even more damage. Then Ointment we can use on one of the 1-power copies of the soldiers that we spawn in, both healing them and boosting them. And then Illusionist is another way to get some of those strong bronze soldiers out of our opponent's graveyard and onto the playing field. So there's a look at the deck, and we have a ton of damage, but also lots of ways to manipulate our opponent's graveyard. That means we can either focus on our damage, or if our opponent has better units that we want to create copies of, then we can adapt and do that instead. This is going to be a crazy deck to use, so let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. Alright, so I like going with Crossbowmen, especially when we're on blue coins, so that works well. We have a couple of Alba Pikemen, that works well too. Not sure we're going to want the Squirrel against Nilfgaard, that's probably not necessary. Tell you what, this might be a little bit too much stuff that is relying on their graveyard in round 1, so let's get rid of Imperial Practitioner as well in that case. Master Puppets can work, and why don't we get rid of Experimental Remedy? Alright. So yeah, let's start with the Crossbowmen. Although the deploy is not going to deal damage, we will deal damage whenever we play soldiers, and we will certainly do quite a bit of that. Oh, Sahil. Unitless, at least initially here. But that's okay, we can plan for more damage if we go with more Crossbowmen here. And I'm sure the armor will frustrate them because they can't destroy anything with Sahil. Unless they use Coup de Grace. But this is okay. Although, actually, this sets up a pretty decent combo for them. They can deal the damage there and then get the kill with Sahil. And then, wow, very aggressive. Leader ability there. But what we can do now is we can go Duchess's Informants. Create additional Crossbowmen. And let's, I suppose, damage you. Alright, Brothans, which will create more Crossbowmen. So it's going to become a war of Crossbowmen, it seems. And I don't love Duchess's Informants, because that's going to be an easy target for Sahil on their next turn, but so will whatever the 1-powered copy is of whatever card we play next. And I think it's probably going to be Alba Pikeman. Now that we have the Crossbowmen to dish out damage when we play soldiers, let's play more soldiers that also deal damage. And let's deliberately boost this one up so that this does not become their hill target. Alright, more Duchess Informants. This time they'll also go over to the Pikemen instead. Let's go for more Pikemen. Alright, teleportation to what? Replay, yeah, the Duchess's Informants. To get more Alba Pikeman. And now that they have a Crossbowman in their graveyard, we can use the Illusionist to make more of them, or we could play the Master of Puppets and try to steal a Pikeman or a Crossbowman. I think we go Illusionist. Then they have Bribery, with which they'll get Cahir. Okay, we aren't boosting at the moment, we're just dealing damage, so that's not a huge problem. The bigger problem is the point deficit we're looking at right now. Let's take a bit of a risk here. Let's go Illusionist. We'll try to push a little bit more. Let's go with the Pikeman instead. And then let's use our leader ability here to create even more Pikemen and shut down theirs. We arguably should have done that earlier. That was one of the key differences between their strategy and our strategy. Alright, they'll go with Urchin. That'll be, oh, I was going to say, worth a couple boosts per turn, but no, they immediately convert the first one. See, no, I think we have to call it here. With this 12-point deficit, I don't see a way we're making this up with just one card. So that means they'll take the round 1 win. Alright, and on even cards, they could very well end up pushing here. So I think we get rid of the Nauzicaa Sergeant. And I don't think we have enough soldiers to use Vrygheff. Would have been much better in round 1. Alright, they'll start with Cantarella. And they'll get Nauzicaa Sergeant. Not so bad. Why don't we go Matta here? Because that's enough points for us to pass them and also get one of our best cards in our hand. They'll go Coup de Grace on Cantarella. I was wondering if they might do it on Matta. This time, this pains me. They'll get Oneiromancy. And with that, they'll get Glidis. But what we can do is use Vilgefortz to take Oneiromancy back. And they don't have any big bronze units out there now. Could potentially put Master Puppets back in their graveyard. Or we could do Ointment. Let's do Ointment. Now, they will play Alba Pikeman. Okay. So this is where we can turn around and go Oneiromancy into Experimental Remedy and play the Crossbowmen to at least guarantee we get rid of one of those Pikemen, and then we may be eyeing a Master of Puppets to steal the others. Well, here come more. And the most recent card to go into their graveyard was that Alba Pikeman, so we may have the chance to get more in our deck using Imperial Practitioner, or alternatively, we go Royal Decree into Vrygheff, play you here, and take out some of these Pikemen, or at least guarantee we get rid of one. Did our random damage just hit an enemy that we had already targeted and gotten rid of? Alright, they will use teleportation to play another Alba Pikeman. Unfortunately, that means that teleportation is now the most recent card that has been added to their graveyard. But we do still have the potential to steal those pikemen. They'll just pass. And we will hold on to the lead here. We do not need to play anything. So we'll pass and take the round 2 win. Alright, so we get round 2 Oneiromancy, Nauzicaa Sergeant, and Vilgefortz. I think we get Nauzicaa Sergeant. And Defender is great. I mean, if they are going to do any sorts of boosting, of course, Defender plus Cahir is an awesome combo. We can get rid of their biggest unit with Vilgefortz. And right now, it looks like Imperial Practitioner would give us Glynis, which is decent. Just not sure we're going to have enough ways to proc that Assimilate. Well, we just flat out don't have any bronze units in our hand right now, so Operator is quite literally a 5-power unit. So maybe it would have been better to stick with the Imperial Practitioner in that case. But anyways, why don't we start with our Defender? They'll give it Spying. Wonder if they may have Terra Nova. Those are Assimilate units. That means they are perhaps going to do some boosting here. So why don't we go with Cahir? And of course, our fear with Cahir is that they're going to have a Yrden, and they do have Last Say, so that could be a problem, or they will play Cahir of their own. The difference is, we have a Defender, they don't, so we can mess with these Cahirs, whereas they cannot. One way to do that is Oneiromancy into Damien, and then use Damien on our next turn to get our leader ability back and lock these Cahirs and create copies of them. So we'll see if they have a way to protect them now. They do not. Oh, well, actually they do, come to think of it. So I was ready to get rid of either one Cahir or one Defender with Vilgefortz, but can't get rid of both of them, unfortunately. But they will forfeit, so we'll take the win. Alright, so going up against Northern Realms here. And we'll go first. Alright, so we have some bronze units to work with here. That's good. Between the Alba Pikeman and Aard, Ffion, Crossbowmen, we have some damage. We have Cahir, along with our Defender, which should be good, especially if our opponent does some boosting, which they're Northern Realms, they very well could. We may want to have Illusionist in round 2 or round 3, though. Duchess' Informant's probably a little bit better in round 1, so let's stick with that. So let's start by going Operator into Aard, Ffion, Crossbowmen. They'll go Amphibious Assault into Damien, and this may be our previous deck. He is a soldier, so they actually will get the damage from the Crossbowmen. But now let's go with Duchess's Informant into another Crossbowman on our side. And let's hit this Crossbowman so that they don't get any damage from it in the future. So keep an eye out for potential Arch Griffin plays. No, it's Idoran. Didn't see that coming. You tend not to see it for Northern Realms. So to be honest, I'm a little intrigued. I'm guessing what they're going to do is use Cintrian Spellweavers, who have a 1 damage order ability that can be not only on opponents, but your own units as well, to destroy some of these Idorans and create space for them to spawn additional units in their melee row. So this may help them a bit, but let's go with Crossbowmen for more damage. And we can either target Damien, which is not going to get us very far, or we can target, I guess, their Crossbowmen up here again. And so the thing is, our random damage procs will occasionally hit these Idorans and, of course, destroy them in the process, which does create more space in their melee row, which is something that I'm guessing they're trying to do. So that's how we are kind of, sort of helping them. Mushy Truffle, okay. Get Meditating Mages, okay, so that's what they want to create a bazillion copies of. Now I see. Or at least one of the cards they want to do that too. So now let's go Alba Pikeman. This will give us a lot more damage. And again, does mean they're going to continue to have space in their melee row. But we did get rid of one of those Meditating Mages. Alright, now it's Queen Italia. Into more Meditating Mages. Okay, yeah. We see where this is headed. Ooh, the Golden Froth they do play now. Was hoping before they started using all their vitality and boost from Golden Froth that we might be able to sneak in Cahir. We can actually steal several of these meditating mages, so I think we might go for that. Let's go Oneiromancy into Master of Puppets. And we'll look to nab some of these ones in their range row. That is, assuming we don't destroy them right now, which we may. We did. Alright, now reinforcements they'll use to create, guess what? More meditating mages. Their rows are completely full now. That is, unless and until we start dealing more damage with our Alba Pikeman. So tell you what we'd kind of like to do. Let's go Royal Decree into Vilgefortz. Destroy their big Damien. That will get out... That will not summon anything? That's a little odd. But then, let's steal. They will gain those resilience and vitalities from all those meditating mages. And then go Tissia, which will reset all those orders. So this is where I was thinking we might want to play Cahir. He is a soldier, so he will deal damage when we play him. And then let's use our stratagem on our weaker Cahir, so that he does not get immediately shut down. That means that all the boosts from their vitalities will, of course, get absorbed by our Cahirs. So we will take the round 1 win in that case. They will have resilience, though, on all those meditating mages, so that means they may have an easy round 2 win. So just looking at their board here with all their resilience units, they have 16 points worth of meditating mages. So I think that probably means we are looking to dry pass, which means they will actually carry a 1-card advantage into round 3, because they won't need to play anything. But we drew into Oneiromancy, Vrygheff, and Ointment, and I think we played most of our bronze soldiers in round 1, so we may want to get rid of you. Experimental Remedy, I'm not really sure we have cards we want to steal from our opponent all that much. So we'll just pass here in round 2. They'll continue to play, resetting their Mushy Truffle so they can use another round of Golden Froth. Oh! And reset their order abilities? Well, that's not good. So that means, once again, they have a ton of carryover from all this resilience, and once again means this is a situation in which we would like to have a card like Cahir. I'm not sure we want to use Imperial Practitioner or Nauzicaa Sergeant. Alright, they'll go Amphibious Assault into a Redanian Knight, so it's another source of boosting. But we can shut that down if we'd like, using the Ffion Crossbowmen. Does mean it's going to deal damage in the process and get rid of the armor on the Crossbowman, which means this will not deal damage in the future. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. Now they'll go Royal Decree into more of those Redanian Knights. And words cannot describe how much I wish we still had Cahir right now. Let's go Oneiromancy into Alba Pikeman. Get these going as quickly as possible. Right then, Rune Word into an Aretusa Adept. They don't have any Patience units that still have their orders remaining at this point, and they are running out of space a bit, so you wonder how effective those Aretusa Adepts will be. Alright, now let's go Experimental Remedy. And with this, let's play the Crossbowmen that we gave them in round 1 from their graveyard. And this time, maybe we just let these Redanian Knights continue to get boosted and focus exclusively on the damage. And, well, we're going to damage them anyway and get rid of our armor, which, as I was saying, does reduce our damage, so it's a trade-off. They will have more meditating mages. And as we were saying, they were looking to get some more patience units out there to power up their Tuesday Adepts. So in that case, let's play Vrygheff. That will allow us to reuse our Crossbowmen to get rid of one Meditating Mage and almost the second. And the random damage does hit that Meditating Mage, so we got rid of those. That not only shuts off that potential engine, but also, at least temporarily, slows down these Adepts. Right then, Operator. We were using this in round 1. It's another way for them to get some more Meditating Mages. And in this case, we may want to use our leader ability to lock this. So let's do that now. And then, of course, eventually we'll want to use Damien to get that leader ability back. So let's play Damien now. And as much as I would love to play our defender first to protect Damien, we would not have enough room in our melee row to have 2 defenders and 2 Damiens. So prioritizing Damien over the defender. Alright, now it's more Meditating Mages. They grow on trees. And that is, of course, one of the reasons why we brought the Damiens out. And since they're running out of space, I mean, I suppose we lock them, because what else would we lock? So, let's go with this. Lock you. Then activate you. And lock you. Then as for the actual card we'd like to play, let's go Vilgefortz here. And get Donimir. Because he actually is a soldier, so he will proc our damage from our Crossbowmen. Alright, it's a Megascope. They are not going to have any room for this. Unless and until we deal the damage to make room for them. That is, unfortunately, somewhat uncontrollable with the random damage from both the Crossbowmen from when we play a soldier and from the Pikeman at the end of our turn. But now let's go with Donimir. And the reason why I wanted Donimir was because this copy of him is going to have 1 power, which means he becomes the best target for Ointment. And we should be activating these Meditating Mages now. Alright, Megascope, again, they don't have room. So this one triggers, but they get nothing out of it. Let's activate these mages before we forget. Now let's play Ffion. And we can use his ability. So they've run out of space. So they'll pass. And they'll forfeit. Because we still have the lead. So there's a look at a high damage Nilfgaard deck for the new +1 seasonal event, using a bunch of new cards from the Harvest of Sorrow expansion. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below and let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.